This is your call to action. Get prepared, America. Economy, survival, energy, disasters. This is USAPrepares.com. Informative radio, educational radio. Interact now by emailing instructor@USAPrepares.com or text at 434-390-7953. Class, please take your seats. Now, your instructor, Vincent Finelli.
Watch the greenbacks tumble.
Everyone all set, cocked, locked. Here we go. Your dial set correctly to USAPrepares.com. Broadcasting 2 hours from high atop the Missouri Ozark Mountains. Class, we've got a special today. We're going to be talking about black mold. We're going to be talking about toxins in our homes and workplaces and toxins in drinking water. John is engineering the broadcast in Minnesota at Genesis Communications Network. I'm Vincent Finelli, and we have a call-in line if you'd like to call in and ask some questions. Let me give you that number, and we'll pay for the call. Toll free, 866-582-9933, 866-582-9933. With us today is Linda May. Linda, welcome.
Welcome to you too.
Linda, it's great. It's great to hear your voice. Linda, you have a bachelor's degree, Bachelor's of Science in Nursing, BS Public Health and Safety. You're a former federal and state inspector and a federal hospital inspector. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with us that might help us understand who you are as we go forward talking about...
I was named Who's Who in Medicine and Healthcare in 2011 2012, and also have been in the past Who's Who in Women and Who's Who in America. So I have a number of credentials, as you will know.
Linda, I was watching a video with you, and I'm going to post this about, and we'll get to this discussion in a little bit, about Chinook Air Force Base in Illinois with some toxins that are there, and that'll be a little later on in the broadcast, but I'm going to post that, so if anyone would like to see that, you can go to USAPrepares.com, and right after the first break, that should be posted, and you'll be able to see Linda May in action. Linda, let's talk about black mold. We'll start with that. You know, a lot of us see this black substance. It kind of looks like charcoal. It appears in basements. What is black mold?
Black mold occurs when there's predominantly water leaks. You've heard of it probably, or your listeners have, in schools and other public buildings. And there's been about 30-some schools across the nation that I've dealt with the issue. Basically, it's a fungus, but it goes back to even being talked about in the Bible in Leviticus. So it's God's most potent poison, and it still exists today in buildings and creates quite a few health problems.
And what causes black mold to appear? Is it everywhere, or is it not everywhere?
It's not everywhere. It occurs usually when there's hurricanes, floods, or issues where there have been water leaks, plumbing leaks. It occurs more often where there's construction issues, and we've seen it a lot more in the recent past because the construction regs changed, and as we have shoddy buildings, we get mold issues with water leakage in basements and throughout schools and public buildings that are built with less than the better standards of construction.
Would you say that this black mold problem is increased because of the lack of ventilation? We don't open our windows as much. When you talk about schools, I passed by several schools that are being constructed right now, and they have these areas that would be the windows in the classroom, but they've used an architectural design to, we'll call them, board up almost all of the windows. They've covered over the areas where the windows would be. You could see where the windows would be because there's a different construction exterior on these schools where the windows would be in the classrooms, but the windows are small and they don't look like they open. So is that make the problem worse, or does it make it better?
It makes it a lot worse, and that's interesting because we had a school in Illinois that 2 years ago, it was still, 5 or 10 years ago, it was a school built around with no windows. They thought that was good for heating and cooling in the Midwest where it gets bitter cold. That school was condemned and hauled to the dump site, and it housed all of the kids from pre-K through 8th grade. And due to budgetary constraints in the state, they went without a school for almost 900 kids for over 2 years in the area. I mean, literally, these kids were hauled to a grade school where half of them went, half a day, and the other half went to half a day, and they were lodged in one gymnasium. The schools without proper ventilation and windows and without meeting construction standards have huge issues that develop within a year to 2 years after they're built. And usually you end up with health issues with the teachers and the kids, developing all kinds of health symptoms from asthma to this particular toxin long-term will cause cancer.
There's an increase, as far as I can tell, in the number of young people using inhalers, rescue inhalers. I'm wondering how much of that has to do with their homes, the mold in their homes, the mildew in their homes. Of course, there's the dietary concerns as well. But do you think that there is a link between the rescue inhalers, the breathing difficulties, the respiratory difficulties, and these, we'll call them sick buildings?
Absolutely. Let me explain to you, in fact, in one area where I went to, the inhaler, it suppresses the immune system, which the child needs. And we had a large amount of kids dying because of it, because the inhaler is a steroid. The issue is, if I go into a school and I find a large amount of kids, usually who entered school with no health problems in kindergarten, first grade, suddenly they have inhalers. We have found 100% of the time the school has a mold issue. And so, the first thing a parent does when they take a child, well, you have asthma or whatever, the doctor will hand them an inhaler. The first question a parent should ask is, where has my child been exposed to an issue that requires this serious situation? Because an inhaler does not cure the problem. What it does is it makes it worse and literally creates lung disease that can ultimately lead, in several schools, we've had kids die from this issue. So you want to look to the issue, and especially a lot of teachers will contact me when they have a school, and the teachers are sick. And let's say, all of a sudden I've got kindergartners, 5, 6, 7 of them, inhalers. And first thing we do is do testing and evaluation, and we found school mold was the issue. And when the mold was taken away and the kids were moved to a building that we knew the air was clear, there was no need for an inhaler. So that's a key factor for a parent to look at.
As a parent, if I had a person, one of our children in a government training camp, a school, I would want to take a tour of that school. Where would you suggest that I look? I would just show up and say, "Hey, I'm here. I'm delighted you're participating in our child's education. I'd like to tour the school." Where would you suggest that I look to find mold?
Mold isn't always visible to the naked eye. What you should look for is signs of dampness and humidity, windows, heating and ventilation system. If it's an older building, you want to look at the basements and in the restroom. Are they damp? Are there areas where there's wetness? look at the carpet if they have carpet, the tile, and see what's going on. You can usually tell if there's a construction issue, leaky roof. Around the base of the school on the outside, look for drainage issues. When the rains are heavy, does the water drain away from the building and not go back towards the foundation? We found a lot of schools have issues where the foundation has a problem. And, so you want to be, you want to look and see what's going on. The smell has a big thing. If it smells damp and musty, there's an issue in that school. And the other issue we have, and this is real important, teachers will be out for like Easter break, and then they'll go back to school, and they feel great during Easter break, and then all of a sudden they go back to school, and 2 or 3 days later, go back on Monday, and by Wednesday they're feeling tired and cranky and whatever. If you notice your child, after the summer, goes to school, and a week or so in, they start acting cranky, hyperactive, disruptive, they don't feel good, they're sleeping a lot, those are usually the trigger marks that tell me there's a problem internally within the school. And how you can tell is during the summer, the air conditioning units in the schools are turned off. So you've got high humidity and heat, which mold grows in. And then come September, they turn the air back on, but you've had this mold growing all summer, and suddenly you've got problems with the school. And I always get calls when school starts, usually a week or so after Thanksgiving break. Christmas break is a biggie because there's 2 or 3 weeks where they're off and they shut the heat down or turn it up or down. And Easter break is the biggie because the winter storms and the drainage, that's when the mold grows and you'll see the issues. And usually the teachers, it's not the parents and the kids. Teachers have their complaints too, but they're afraid to speak up because of the school board. So check with your teacher.
Linda May's with us, and we're talking about mold. We're talking about toxins at the home, toxins at the workplace, toxins at school, toxins in the water. We're going to talk about them for 2 hours today. I'm Vincent Finelli. Linda May. We'll be right back. Class, I'm a survivalist, and my plan is to be independent of everything that I can so that supply chain disruptions have a minimum impact on our family. What's the first thing that you do when the power goes out? I've researched the best value solar energy system that I can find, one that's backed by the technical support necessary for the undertaking. The system's installed and is generating electricity right now with equipment purchased from ironedison.com. You heard Brandon Williams, CEO of ironedison.com, right here on USA Prepares. Together, we designed our system. In my opinion, our ironedison.com system has more features, more value, and more potential than any other system I found. We chose the Snyder Electric system with a hybrid inverter, charge controller, power panel, battery disconnect, and the system control panel. If you want energy independence, as we have, please consider calling the engineering team at ironedison.com, 720-432-6433, 720-432-6433.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I impartially shopped the highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $26 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-403-4885. That's 1-800-403-4885. 1-800-403-4885. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop, you save. Get full details in the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
Attention USA Prepares listeners. When you're on the road or have limited data or Wi-Fi, now you can listen to USA Prepares unfiltered and untapped at no extra charge on this non-federal phone number, 1-605-477-3249. Try it now to listen to USA Prepares 24/7 at no extra cost or data charges. These are not on federal lines. These are lines located on Indian reservations off the grid. Call 1-605-477-3249. No smartphones or internet needed. To hear USA Prepares untapped and off the grid, just call 1-605-477-3249.
All right, listen up, because this is the most important thing you're going to hear all day. What if I said you could make money flipping houses without any cash, credit, or manual labor? And what if I said you could do it part-time from the comfort of your home? Sound unflippin' believable? Hi, I'm Preston Ely, and I'm going to prove it by sending you a free copy of my smash hit selling book, How to Get Rich in Real Estate. It sells online for $19.95, but I'm giving away free copies this week. To get one before they're gone, call 1-800-959-9582. I used to be so broke. I had my electricity shut off 9 times, but I figured out a simple way to make money flipping houses without even breaking a sweat. Now I'm living the good life, and so should you. Listen, if you're sick and tired of stressing about money, this book could change your life. Hands down, it's the fastest, easiest way to get started in real estate. Let me prove it. Call right now to find out how to get your free book. When they're gone, they're gone. Call 1-800-959-9582. 1-800-959-9582.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
That's Linda Mays with us, and we're talking about toxins. Linda, you mentioned carpeting, and I'm wondering, in your opinion, we used to have tile floors. They're made with asbestos. I said, oh, boy, that's no good. So they were ripped out from school buildings. Some school buildings had something called a terrazzo floor, which was kind of like a poured concrete with marble, chips, quartz, granite, glass, other items added, and it was sanded, and it lasted the life of the building. But it would be polished and cleaned every year. Are we better off when a new school is being built? Are we better off with carpet, terrazzo, tile? What do you think?
Okay, I'm going to back you up a minute, and then I'm going to answer the question. Just to put this in perspective, when I talk about schools, of the 30 schools that I've personally dealt with, I have dealt with the wealthiest school in the nation in the East Coast, and I'm talking about from New York to North Carolina, to the poorest school district in the nation, which was in Oklahoma. So I've gone Louisiana, Georgia, Tennessee, California. So I'm talking about the wealthiest school to the poorest school. And in the wealthiest school, the parents had fought for 4 years with the superintendent. And they finally ended up shutting the school down, and we brought the CDC in and did several $1 million to fix the mold issue. Other schools have been torn down, and they've had legislatures come up with money really quick. The issue I have found with floors is, if I was the contractor helping people as an environmental health and safety, I would go with terrazzo because you can clean it. And what I tell schools is, when they look for cleaning products, they go, you don't need to go with all these expensive chemicals. Go with and most districts now are going environmentally, with environmental clean products. And for floors, you would use a vinegar-based product. So, and it's cheaper. Hospitals are doing the same thing. They're getting away from the chemicals to clean floors and using environmentally safe cleaning products. So I would stay away from, carpeting, anything. Hardwood floors have problems, too, with, if there's water or spills with traffic in the building. So to me, terrazzo and cement are much easier and a safer issue if you're dealing with water issues and exposure with high foot traffic. But we've even had courthouses with mold in Florida that have been condemned. So, I mean, it's not just the schools.
As I think about it, I don't know of a vacuum cleaner that might be used for carpeting that a school might use that would be connected to a central vacuum system to vent those little particles that go right through the bag if you had just a bag vacuum cleaner. So that puts whatever's on the rug into the air again, and that's just another problem. Okay, so what about these schools where you look at the windows and you see all this condensation in the winter? You can see that all these bodies that are perspiring, these 30 or 25 students in a classroom and the teacher all in the same classroom, you can see that there's plenty of moisture in there. Is there something that is there a visual cue that a parent should see looking into a classroom on tour that would indicate that they need to contact the principal's office and say, look, here's a concern, let's get on this right away? Are there any signs?
I think that you just have to look at the overall building construction. An older building has window issues, but again, it's going to go to the building construction, and you can express a concern to the principal, but you're probably going to get more action by going to the superintendent's office and discussing your concerns and looking at the entire building in its entirety. Windows are just one problem. If you've got problems with the windows, you've got problems with the heating system, the cooling system, and a lot of other things. So you want to look at, is the building damp and musty? Are kids out with the flu? Those kind of issues.
Yep. When we come back, I'd like to share a little story about someone I know who comes to the meetups in Springfield, Missouri. And we had some flooding in Springfield, Missouri. Raw sewage came up into her basement. It backed up from the sewer system. And a couple inches of sewage ended up in her basement. Let's talk about other concerns about that.
There's nothing more enticing and intoxicating than the finest meat cooking on an open flame. Freeze-dried meat from newharvest.com is U.S. grown, 100% all-natural with no extra fillers. Just grass-fed beef and free-range chicken guaranteed to stay fresh and delicious. Add New Harvest freeze-dried meats to your current food storage. You'll buy direct from the factory, not a third party, ensuring the best price and the highest quality. See all our products at newharvestfoods.com. That's newharvestfoods.com.
Worried about lead, fluoride, and other contaminants in your drinking water? Purchase a ProPure system during the Crazy May sale and get a free ProMax shower filter or water filter pitcher. Remove up to 200 contaminants with the Pro 1G 2.0 truly cleanable, reusable filter. We don't stretch our claims, we just deliver performance. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer for details or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com.
My name is Don Wiskin, and at 42 years old, I suffered a massive heart attack and was told I'd be on disability for the rest of my life. What did I do? I created Extendivite, a garlic and cayenne mix of 7 herbs which rebuilt my heart and gave me back my life. For over 17 years now, I have made this formula available to you so you don't have to suffer the same thing I did. Clean your blocked arteries and strengthen your heart and boost your natural immune system. I'm 60 years old now and I still work every day. To get your Extendivite, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com. Extendivite is only $69.95 for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Dangerous blood clot device alert. If you or a loved one had an IVC filter placed to prevent blood clots from traveling to your heart or lungs and suffered an injury, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. The FDA warns that IVC filters may cause serious complications, such as heart or lung damage, internal bleeding, and even death. These dangerous blood clot devices can break, and the metal fragments can travel to your heart or lungs, causing serious injuries. If you or a loved loved one suffered organ damage or other injuries from an IVC filter, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Act now. Time is limited to file a claim. For a free consultation and free information, call Injury Help Desk at 800-478-1507. 800-478-1507. 800-478-1507. This is an advertisement. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. InjuryHelpDesk.com is responsible for this advertisement. Principal office, Las Vegas, Nevada.
How would you like to make 17% on your money in only 90 days? That's right. Gold owners made 17% in only 3 months as gold had its best quarterly gain in 30 years. Gold is on the move, and you need to get government-issued, legal tender gold coins starting at only $139 each. The U.S. Money Reserve, one of the largest gold distributors in the country, announces the first ever at-cost gold release on this station for only $139 each. 1-866-944-GOLD or online at usmoneyreserve.com. Official U.S. government-issued legal tender solid gold coins at cost for only $139 each. Call 1-866-944-GOLD. Ask for a free 55-page gold buyer's book. Plus, get a free Walking Liberty $50 just for reading this must-have book all about gold. Remember, gold is on the move, up 17%. Call 1-866-944-GOLD.
Are you sneezing, coughing, and aching? Do you have a sore throat, a fever, or the sniffles? There's no reason to be sick this cold and flu season with immune system support from Supernatural Silver. Supernatural Silver can give your body the help it needs to fight off harmful pathogens without hurting beneficial gut flora and without leaving behind resistant bacteria. Antibiotics can damage good microflora and often leave behind bacteria which can cause problems later on. If you're sick of being sick, try Supernatural Silver. Supernatural Silver, the #1 choice of thousands for a safe and effective way to protect against the many diseases and illnesses that we are facing today. Go to supernaturalsilver.com, read our customer reviews, and see the life-changing results that people are having. That's supernaturalsilver.com. Supernaturalsilver.com. Use the promo code PROTECTED for 20% off your entire order. And like us on Facebook. Supernatural Silver.
Linda May's with us. Linda, I was talking with one of our meetup students. She'd been coming to the meetups for years in Springfield, Missouri. And we had some flooding in the Springfield, Missouri area. I live 50, 60 miles away on a farm. But the city sewer system backed up into her basement. She had a couple inches of raw sewage in her basement. What are the concerns about that happening? What do you do when your furniture's covered, your books are covered, all the things in a city house basement when flooding occurs and the sewer system backs up? What are your concerns?
One of the things, first off, is anything that is cloth or paper, it's gone. Literally, you cannot clean it up. The only thing you can clean are hard surfaces. Some wood you can clean, but it's very difficult because mold embeds itself inside. But I'm talking about ceramics. If it's 1 or 2 or 3 inches, it's probably going to end up ripping out your floor. And depending on the damage, the 2x4s and all of the drywall goes. In schools where we've had flooding, literally bookcases, books, everything goes to the dump. One piece of information that is the take-home piece, if nothing else, that people hear today is do not use bleach to clean it up. Bleach is like putting gasoline on a kerosene fire. Use white vinegar. White vinegar kills mold and fungus. It is the key to destroying anything that's going to grow or whatever after you've taken out of the basement, whatever you can do. White vinegar. Any shoes or clothes that you're going to throw in the washer when you're done, you want to use a cup of white vinegar, a half cup baking soda to clean. That's better than any laundry soap you could ever buy. And white vinegar is cheap. You don't use bleach. Bleach is only good for bacteria, and you may use bleach down the road. But for flooding, mold, and all of those issues, white vinegar is your takeaway. So it's a 50% solution, 50% vinegar. So it's 1 cup vinegar, 1 cup water. And so anything that's porous, cloth, that kind of thing, you're going to take to the street. And then what you're going to do is clean with water and vinegar. You know, to save.
Linda, I can tell you that when Mrs. Finelli cleans the showers in our farmhouse, that's exactly what she uses: a spray bottle with white vinegar and water, 50-50. Exactly what you said. To if there is any mold, to kill it before we see it, and if there isn't, to make sure it doesn't get there.
Now, if the scent bothers somebody, you can add a few drops of lemon. I've heard some people put essential oil, whatever smell they like, to it. You can add like a little bit of essential oil scent to it, or lemon, just lemon juice, like the straight lemonade juice that you'd buy, what I'm talking about. You buy lemon for drinks, the grocery store.
Yeah, you're talking about concentrated lemon juice in a bottle that you get at a supermarket.
Put a tablespoon of the lemon in your vinegar water mix, and that will give you the clean smell. But do not use bleach under any circumstances. In fact, I've been talking with people in the flood in Texas, and there were a number of houses. There were over 10 of them, and a person was directing it, and they'd all used bleach, and I said, don't. He went and got a gallon of vinegar, and he poured the 50-50 mix on 2x4s. He said, Linda, people stood there astounded. He said, the 2x4s turned perfect white. It killed it instantly. And I said, vinegar does that. It kills everything. People are misinformed when they use bleach for flooding.
Okay. Can you tell us what the symptoms of mold in our home can cause, or mold in the school?
Okay. You feel like you have a sinus infection, and here's the symptom. What it is mold gives off an odor, and I compare it to like carbon monoxide gives off a scent when you go get sleepy. With mold, it gives off an odor, which is called T2 or trichosine. That odor will make you think you've got a sinus infection, you've got headaches, body aches, you're tired. And invariably, people in schools or teachers and students will go, I've got a sinus infection, and head to the doctor, and the doctor will say, here's an antibiotic. If they have a sinus infection more than once, the antibiotic's not going to work. That's the first key. They're going to know it's related to mold exposure, and mold is a fungus, and a lot of doctors will treat with an antifungal nasal spray. But the first key is sinus infections, headaches, tired, I don't feel good, especially if they felt good and been away for a few days. You feel good when you leave the house or building after an hour or two. That's a sure sign that you've got a problem in that building.
Linda, you called me when you heard one of our callers, one of our students, call in with her husband, and she became very forgetful. She and her husband had an enterprise where they worked together, and she would forget what she was working on and what she was doing, and immediately you thought that was a mold issue, and you called me about that. Can you share with us why you thought that? Because her symptoms are exactly what we've seen in buildings where there's been an environmental issue, like a mold, an office building, a school, and we've had teachers, and literally a sudden onset of forgetfulness, and I don't remember what I'm doing. And, if they go to the doctor and they think maybe they're older and they go, oh, Alzheimer's beginning, whatever. But the first thing the person should think is, where have I been? What's my environment? And from what this particular husband and the lady described, I firmly believe that she's had an
exposure to mold or her environment where she's working or living. And literally, it can be reversed. Number one, you need to find the source of toxin, and if she moves to a different work area or a different area, and if her house is exposed, and gets the right medical information, you don't want to give them Alzheimer's drugs when it's a mold exposure. You can reverse the situation, but her situation was so prime example of exposure to an environmental issue that it was immediately, I knew what she was exposed to.
Linda,
and I hope
go ahead. Please continue.
I said, I hope she's listening, because...
I have a feeling she is. Linda, when we see water stains on walls and ceilings, they start out yellowish, right? What happens when what happens when those water stains become more pronounced? We've got 1 drip, 2 drips, 3 drips, maybe 10, and we see a yellowish stain maybe on the ceiling from a roof leak. If that drip continues, how can we tell if it's mold?
Basically, if you've got water dripping from a roof leak in a ceiling or whatever, mold will begin to grow within a couple hours because of the warmth and the humidity. It just changes color because it's reproducing. But if you've got brown stains and there's public buildings where that's the first indicator, you've usually got mold in an attic and you've got a water leak, and that's a major issue because you've got mold. It circulates through the building, through the ventilation system, and in the air. So, it doesn't take much. Literally, a patch of water damage with mold the size of a postcard can contaminate an entire house if left untreated.
And so the treatment is to fix the leak, fix that drip, and then what do we do? How do we use that solution of vinegar and water?
Well, you need to repair whatever's causing your water intrusion. And then the second issue is, depending upon the size of the area where the mold is, there are methods to remove that mold, but you just don't walk up and throw vinegar and water on it because you can literally spread it around. So if it's drywall, you're going to have to remove that section of drywall and replace the drywall. If it's drywall where you've got a leak behind a washer, you're going to end up removing the drywall, the insulation, and even maybe replacing the 2x4s. Depends on the area involved, but you need to be very careful. Fix the leak first, and then you're going to have to remove the damaged portions of whatever material is caused. You can't clean it up. You've got to remove that portion because it will continue to grow and reproduce and make it worse.
Linda, as I travel, sometimes I stay at homes of. I'm a guest at someone's home, and in the shower, almost always you'll see some evidence in the corner of the shower where the tile meets the tub, or some crack, or some joint in the shower stall, or at the track of the shower doors. You'll see evidence of mold. Typically, it's black. Sometimes it's yellow. Sometimes it's reddish. Sometimes it's brown. But it's almost always there. I'd like to share with our class what we've done when we built our house to prevent that problem. When we come back, I'll tell you what we did. And it's a real easy fix. Very inexpensive. And the maintenance is very, very simple. Linda May's with us. I'm Vin Finelli. This is USA Prepares. We're talking about toxins. We're talking about black mold, fungus. And second hour, we're going to talk about water contamination. We'll be right back. Class, I'm a survivalist, and my plan is to be independent of everything that I can so that supply chain disruptions have a minimum impact on our family. What's the first thing that you do when the power goes out? I've researched the best value solar energy system that I can find, one that's backed by the technical support necessary for the undertaking. The system's installed and is generating electricity right now, with equipment purchased from ironedison.com. You heard Brandon Williams, CEO of ironedison.com, right here on USA Prepares. Together, we designed our system. In my opinion, our ironedison.com system has more features, more value, and more potential than any other system I found. We chose the Snyder Electric system with a hybrid inverter, charge controller, power panel, battery disconnect, and the system control panel. If you want energy independence, as we have, please consider calling the engineering team at ironedison.com, 720-432-6433, 720-432-6433.
So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today. Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of slingbow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Have you checked your Google search results lately? Search results are usually the first impression that people form of you or your business, so make sure that they create a positive impression with ReputationDefender.com. What the internet says about you can have a big impact on your life and your livelihood, even if it's not true. Fortunately, you can now control how you look online and in online search results with ReputationDefender.com. Call 800-831-0771 now. That's 800-831-0771 for your free reputation analysis. If you have negative material from an ex-employee, upset patient, or former client, newspaper article, legal issue, social media, or other source showing up in your search results, you can combat it with ReputationDefender.com. Our dedicated experts in patented technology can help make your online search results look their best. Call 800-831-0771 to learn more. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. Or visit ReputationDefender.com.
Looking for that edge during those intimate moments? We see many ads for enhancement, but the side effects include death. At GCN Team, we should change the Healthy Body Brain and Heart Pack to the Healthy Libido Pack. The brain and heart are not the only organs that require a healthy vascular system. For proper blood flow at the right moment, go to GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203.
My computer is so slow, it's making me crazy.
I used to have that problem.
Did you quit using the computer or did you buy a new one?
No, I called Geeks On Site. They made an appointment to visit my home and showed up the same day.
You mean they didn't ask you to bring your computer to a shop? That's what happened when I called a support company.
Geeks On Site can go to your home or business or even repair your computer online. They have 24/7 emergency service.
If you are having problems with your PC or Mac, call Geeks On Site, 1-800-591-1682. Our friendly certified computer repair experts are available 24/7. Call now for a free diagnosis, 1-800-591-1682. Data recovery, virus removal, and maintenance for all laptops, desktops, printers, and networks. That's Geeks On Site for friendly certified computer repair experts, available 24/7 over the phone or in your home or business. Just call 1-800-591-1682. That's 1-800-591-1682, 1-800-591-1682.
Are you worried about how dangerous the world has become? In these days of terrorist attacks, natural disasters, or even a future collapse, you need to be medically prepared to keep your family safe. I'm Joe Alton, MD of store.doomandbloom.net, where you'll find an entire line of uniquely designed medical kits and supplies for when help is not on the way. For everything from individual first aid kits to the ultimate family medical bag, go to store.doomandbloom.net today. That's store.doomandbloom.net. You'll be glad you did.
Class, I have a suggestion. Here's what we did at our house, our farmhouse. Our farmhouse is very basic. We went for durability. We went for structure. There's not much fancy in our farmhouse. Actually, there's nothing fancy. Our kitchen counters are Formica. We don't have any of the, the granite or the marble or any of that. We just don't have any of that. We don't have the fancy chandeliers, but what we do have is very, very strong construction. And so when it came to the bathroom, when I was designing that, I chose a fiberglass shower pan, just basic. It's a 5-foot shower pan, and porcelain tile surround. And we installed that porcelain tile. But it does not have a shower door. Now, a shower door is kind of neat because you just slide the door and you're good to go. But the reason we didn't do that is because we know that they always are a place for mold to develop. We've seen it everywhere we've been. So we bought nylon shower curtains. Now, these look like shower curtain liners because if you look at any plastic shower curtain, any of those vinyl shower curtains, they fold and they develop mold very, very quickly. So what I do is right after the shower, I stretch out that shower curtain so that it gets air on the left side and the right side of it, and air flows inside the shower stall, if you will, and circulates and dries out very quickly. And then if you want to clean that shower curtain, you just put it in the washing machine, and just a small amount of washing machine detergent, and you put on the gentle cycle, and you're good to go. Now, what do they cost? I just looked one up on eBay. Typical cost between $9 and $12, not with shipping included. So that's what we have, and we have the ones that are sand color rather than white in case there are any stains that come from the water. And you can wash them every couple of weeks or once a week, and you're good to go. Now, how long do they last? Well, I don't know. I don't know because we've never had to replace one. And we're going on, 11 years. 11 years with the same shower curtain. So just a thought. Linda, what are your thoughts on that? And by the way, that's if you go to a hotel or a motel, that's probably what you're going to see. One of those type shower curtains. Linda, your thoughts?
I agree. I would say, if somebody doesn't want to use detergent, again, wash with a cup of vinegar, a half cup baking soda. But my big thing is most people find mold around the bathroom behind the plumbing is where the majority of housing mold issues discovered. Because where the shower, you turn the faucets on, usually what will happen after a few years is there's a leak behind the wall. And people don't realize that they've got a slow drip from a pipe behind a wall. And that's where they discover suddenly they've got mold issues because people start getting sick in a house. So usually it's a water pipe leak in a bathroom or a kitchen faucet type leak under the sink is where I've seen most of the mold issues originate, not from shower.
That's a really good point. That's a really good point because a lot of the plumbing in some of the older houses might be copper. And the cold water coming up will condense water and it'll drip. And every time you use the shower, you might have another drip or two of moisture collecting inside that wall cavity. And what I did to prevent that, I used PVC and CPVC. I used PVC for the cold water because it's stronger, CPVC for the hot water. And I insulated all the pipes in the wall so there would be no condensation. Just one more tip, class. Linda May and I are going to be back right after these few short commercial announcements. We'll talk a little bit more about the toxins in the home. And then we'd like to talk about Chanute Air Force Base and the toxins there. You won't believe it. We'll be right back. How many of you want to learn how to dig up bugs, worms, and raise crickets for food? Do you prefer to eat them dried and crunchy or while still alive? Well, you won't have to if you can defend your food supply from predators. You may want to get an AR-15 kit from guns80.com and build your own AR-15 rifle from a kit. If you can legally own a rifle, you can purchase this AR-15 kit. If you're handy, you can complete the rifle in about an hour. The kit comes with all the parts you're going to need to build your rifle, but you'll need a drill press. And survivalists need one anyway. The Guns80.com team purchased the same used floor-standing drill press that I have for $100. You can too. And when you're finished, you'll have a paperwork-free AR-15 rifle, a drill press, drill bits, and the knowledge to maintain your AR-15 rifle, all for less than you expect. So if you want a paperwork-free AR-15 parts kit like mine, visit Guns80.com, Guns80.com, and let the unprepared have our share of the bugs.
Are you worried about your mom or dad living alone in their house? Hi, I'm Joan London. Listen, I know how difficult it is to find senior care for someone you love. That's why I recommend a free service called A Place for Mom. They are the nation's largest senior living referral service. Call A Place for Mom today.
To receive free information on senior living communities in your area, call A Place for Mom at 1-800-704-6182.
A Place for Mom offers free one-on-one advice from local advisors and a personalized list of senior living communities you can visit. If you have questions about senior care for your mom or dad, there's a place for answers, A Place for Mom.
Call A Place for Mom in the next 10 minutes to get your free ebook on financing senior care as well as free information on senior living communities in your area. Call 1-800-704-6182. That's 1-800-704-6182.
Everyone all set? Cocked? Locked? Hour number 2 of USAPrepares.com. Linda May's with us. Linda, maybe we ought to just get right into the Chanute Air Force Base in Illinois. You were involved in, investigating what's going on there in the water supply. You want to share that with us?
Yes. A little background. I was a health inspector in an adjoining county, but with Chanute in Champaign County, my relationship to the county is my great-great-grandfather was the first white man. He was an Indian guide to enter the county back in 1828 and found the county. So I have a long relationship with the county and its environmental issues. And the investigation showed that Chanute Air Force Base was investigated by the CDC and is listed as a Superfund site. Chanute was found 3 times worse than Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, for water pollution for Agent Orange and TCE in the water supply. The unique thing about Chanute is we don't have any rivers or streams. We sit on an aquifer that's called the Muhammad Aquifer that feeds 750,000 people, and it is our sole source of water for the entire area. And Chanute's water supply was contaminated with Agent Orange. And the unique part about this is, in the investigation, we got documentation. The documentation is on U.S. Air Force, the Department of Air Force letterhead, signed by a colonel, and it states very clearly that from 1961 through 1993, and this memo has been well documented, came from the U.S. government, that specifically in the wells on the base, which are covered by grass and, in this case, dandelions, that yearly they put 7 tons, that's 7 tons of Agent Orange and 3 tons of Agent Blue periodically to kill the dandelions, which drain directly into the well that fed the base water supply, which was the Muhammad Aquifer. And the investigation was started because a number of children who live on the base or near the base in the city of Rantoul, the reporter was sent out to do a human interest story because all these children are under the age of 10 have rare childhood cancers. And those people living on the abandoned base, and most recently a 19-year-old, rare kidney cancer, and those people are dying or died. The other unique thing, and most people don't know about, in addition to it being Air Training Command, where everybody that went to Vietnam, air equipment, and that type of thing went through there. A lot of your National Weather Service, or in fact, the National Weather Service School was at Chanute. And in fact, I know the National Weather Service people who had rare kidney cancers and have died in the last 4 months. They got their training and were at Chanute Air Force Base. So it's a huge problem and has well documented the fact that, Chanute was ruled 3 times worse than Camp Lejeune. And it was published again last Thursday with all of the documentation in the U.S. government memos.
And class, there's a couple-minute video on the post. I put it on page 1 of usaprepares.com, and you'll get a chance to see Linda May in the video. So, Linda, if I remember correctly, there was denial about the about toxins being used at Chanute Air Force Base. And then, yeah, I guess they were used, right? Didn't the government deny it?
What's unique about this, and it goes back to it, is the government denied that Agent Orange was used anywhere inside the continental United States. Many of you may be familiar, and this is to give a little background to it, with a television show called Hill Street Blues.
Yes.
A man named Michael, hang on a minute, I have his name, Michael Glazer, who was the producer-director of Hill Street Blues, was stationed initially at Chanute Air Force Base back in the early 60s. Michael was one of the first documented people to spray Agent Orange in these very places. He developed the rare kidney cancer. He came back to Chanute. He walked the area in the last 2 years, pointed specifically to where it was dumped, stored, sprayed. He got disability benefits from the U.S. government, VA, for Agent Orange exposure within the United States, specifically at Chanute Air Force Base. This became very important because it proved that it was used inside the continental United States. The memo was signed by a colonel on Air Force letterhead. So they could no longer deny that Agent Orange and Agent Blue were used in the continental U.S., and therefore military service personnel and dependents who had these rare cancers could now receive benefits. So this investigation, which was almost a year in the obtaining of documents and the interviews, proved a great deal within the United States and was significant because it showed where all the other bases had also exposures, but Chanute opened up the web.
Who was responsible for developing Agent Orange? Do we know that?
Yes, it was developed by Monsanto in St. Louis as part of the Vietnam War and Admiral Zumwalt, and so they sold it to the military for a defoliant in Vietnam, but they also used it in the United States at every military base where they had weeds or other problems. In this case, it was used to kill dandelions, not only directly over the wells, but on the playground and the golf course. So nice green golf course, playground with no dandelions equals kidney cancers and dying people. Even today, the people who have moved to this community and drinking the water have developed these rare cancers.
Here at the farm, we have a saying, within our farm: if it's green and the cows eat it, it's not a weed. What's the big problem with dandelions? Why was it worth the risk? Did we not know what the risks were back then?
I can't really specifically say. Dandelions are endemic to Illinois. I've grown up with them. They go there, but back then, who's to say what the philosophy was for the particular people that were told Mr. Glazer to go out and pour Agent Orange and Agent Blue on the dandelions, which were growing on the grass directly above the wells to the water supply, which are now the water supply to the entire village of Rantoul, which has serious issues.
Linda, there's a place in Jackson, New Jersey. It's called the Legler section. And many years ago, there was a quarry, and it was a pit that was excavated for gravel, maybe some sand. And once the sand and gravel were sold, there was this pit, and the township decided to use this area, since it was already scooped out, to bury trash. And I know that tanker trucks would come in there and unload whatever liquid was in them. And the water table was very, very high, and the ground was very sandy. So whatever liquids would be released from these tanker trucks would go right into the ground. And the groundwater was contaminated, and many of the residents had all kinds of cancers. And the solution was that these water buffaloes would be brought in and dropped off with potable water at different locations within the village. And ultimately, they had to put in a municipal water system for all those people who had wells that became contaminated through the pollution that was released from whoever deposited whatever chemicals into the ground in these pits. It's really sad. It's really sad because it takes millions of years to get good, clean water in the ground in these aquifers, and it doesn't take long to pollute them, and it's expensive to treat it. And you have to wonder what people are thinking when they release these 10,000-gallon tanks of whatever these chemicals are, whatever this waste product is, right into the ground. It makes no sense at all. And we don't spray any of those herbicides on our farm, none. And yeah, we have weeds, but and our fence line doesn't look as pretty as everyone else who sprays their fence lines with herbicides. They have these barbed wire fences or high tensile electric fences, and many of the farms around here don't have weeds growing under them because they spray them, but we don't do that. We just cut the weeds down, as we can. I'm very concerned about it. So, Linda, is there anything else you'd like to share with us about the toxins at this Air Force Base, Chanute Air Force Base in Illinois?
I think the issue is it's not only affected the city water supply, all of the water supply for the entire region, Champaign County, comes from the one aquifer. Again, it feeds 700,000 plus people.
And the result is cancer and death, right?
Yes, and it's spread throughout. It's been tested and found in the aquifer.
The same, and the same government said no, everything's okay. And then, actually it is there. We'll be right back. Class, I'm a survivalist, and my plan is to be independent of everything that I can so that supply chain disruptions have a minimum impact on our family. What's the first thing that you do when the power goes out? I've researched the best value solar energy system that I can find, one that's backed by the technical support necessary for the undertaking. The system's installed and is generating electricity right now, with equipment purchased from IronEdison.com. You heard Brandon Williams, CEO of IronEdison.com, right here on USA Prepares. Together, we designed our system. In my opinion, our IronEdison.com system has more features, more value, and more potential than any other system I've found. We chose the Snyder Electric system with a hybrid inverter, charge controller, power panel, battery disconnect, and the system control panel. If you want energy independence, as we have, please consider calling the engineering team at IronEdison.com, 720-432-6433, 720-432-6433.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a select quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I impartially shopped the highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $26 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-403-4885. That's 1-800-403-4885. 1-800-403-4885. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop, you save. Get full details in the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
Is there a difference in body armor? You bet. Quality, warranty, price. Get it all from Patriot Armor. Veteran-owned and operated, Patriot Armor plates are made in America. Max-tested, independent lab certified. Come in many options and protection levels with a lifetime warranty on our steel armor plates and Viper plate carriers. Plus, industry-leading prices starting at just $149.99. Click PatriotArmorDefense.com. That's PatriotArmorDefense.com. Or call 727-280-7146. When your life depends on it, trust no other. Patriot Armor.
As if chlorine in our water weren't bad enough, now they're adding ammonia?
It's true. Some municipalities are now adding ammonia plus chlorine to your water supply. It's a disinfectant called chloramine. But with a trusted Big Berkey water filter, you can keep chloramine out of your water. New NSF EPA certified lab tests show EPA Berkey water filters remove chloramines, pharmaceuticals, BPA, pesticides, bacteria and viruses, all forms of fluoride, and much more. Big Berkey water filters are the original and most trusted on the market. The gold standard in water purification. And our filters last for years at less than 2 cents per gallon. Big Berkey, the one that's powerful enough to purify stagnant pond water. Get your Big Berkey today. Call 1-877-99-BERKEY or click BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. That's 1-877-99-BERKEY. Big Berkey Water Filters, for the love of clean water.
No other network provides the level of customer service we do. When it comes to radio advertising, we are your one-stop shop. And no matter how big or small your business is, we can help. Email us at advertise@gcnlive.com, and an experienced advertising executive will help you take the first step towards driving more customers to your business or website. Advertise@gcnlive.com. Easy, affordable, effective.
Linda May's with us. Linda, I was thinking about my childhood. I had some friends who lived on a Navy base. In high school, I had some friends who lived on an Army base, and I'd go over there and we'd play. Do you think it's possible that I was exposed to some of these toxins that we're discussing?
It was used on every military base, be it U.S., Guam, Korea, Vietnam. The U.S. government used it on every base as a herbicide, pesticide to control weeds and flight lines. And in fact, chemicals like TCE and diesel fuel. Diesel fuel on military bases was a 50-50 mix of Agent Orange and diesel fuel. And I don't understand the making behind it, but in looking at the material safety data sheet, we discovered that diesel fuel was a 50-50 mix of Agent Orange and diesel fuel.
So, do I have this right that you're saying that Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine bases have all used these defoliants, Agent Orange?
Absolutely. They're on every military base in Canada and the U.S., and Guam, Japan, all of the military bases used them. And in fact, the equipment, when it came back to the U.S. after it was in Vietnam, was contaminated, and those planes flew to every military base in the U.S., and they didn't decontaminate those planes. So people who used them later bought those planes and rode in them were exposed to the toxins. And we do have people who were in the military and bought those planes, particularly C-123s, who proved that they were contaminated with Agent Orange and developed cancers and have been given benefits by the VA for it.
Let's talk about where the firefighters are trained.
Okay. All of the military firefighters, and especially those who fight on aircraft carriers, were trained at Chanute Air Force Base. It was known for its firefighting school. Along with the weather forecasters, Chanute was also a training base for jet engines and ICBM missiles. So it was a major training center, and in addition to U.S. forces of various services, they brought a lot of soldiers over from Vietnam to train them in U.S. things. So Chanute had a wide range of people from various specialties being trained and sent out, and all of those people were exposed to Agent Orange at Chanute before they ever went to their base in Japan or Vietnam. And one of the side notes is many people are looking to other bases as proof that they were in Vietnam, even though they didn't have boots on the ground, when in fact, when the Chanute story broke, it literally proved their first exposure to Agent Orange, because they were there for maybe 6, 12, 18 weeks or whatever for their training. Their exposure to Agent Orange was originally at Chanute Air Force Base, and then they went on to get their second dose maybe in Vietnam or Guam or Japan. So it was a huge story to break that they had proof that they got their exposure first in the United States.
Linda, I always thought it'd be really fun to buy a missile silo, out in the Midwest, and wouldn't it be fun to live in a missile silo? But my concern was all the chemicals that were used in the rocket fuel and other chemicals used in and around that missile silo. So I didn't pursue that. Do you think that was wise, not pursuing living in a missile silo?
I don't think you'd want to go live there with all those chemicals and the rocket fuel and the TCE, and the Agent Orange and diesel fuel and the chemicals that were used around the site to keep it clear of seeds and that kind of thing. This site would not be the place to go live.
Linda May, do you think that the military in general is careful with the toxins that they handle, or are they less than careful? Or is that something you'd not like to comment on?
No, I will comment on it. I just need a little bit more than time to do that right. And when we come back, I'll be happy to talk about it.
Okay. So the question is the military careful with handling these chemicals or less than careful? We'll be right back.
By now you know that wireless technology like cell phones do in fact pose dangers to the health and privacy of everyone. Block-It Pocket's wide range of products are unmatched in providing the protection you deserve. No scare tactics, just common sense. BlockItPocket.com offers quality American-made options to alleviate and eliminate these invisible dangers. Learn more at BlockItPocket.com or call 888-315-9618. BlockItPocket.com, enhancing health and privacy.
Is there a difference in body armor? You bet. Quality, warranty, price. Get it all from Patriot Armor. Veteran-owned and operated, Patriot Armor plates are made in America. Max-tested, independent lab certified. Come in many options and protection levels with a lifetime warranty on our steel armor plates and vibroplate carriers. Plus, industry-leading prices starting at just $149.99. Click PatriotArmorDefense.com. That's PatriotArmorDefense.com. Or call 727-280-7146. When your life depends on it, trust no other. Patriot Armor.
You're fired. According to the Small Business Administration, 75% of small businesses plan to eliminate jobs or reduce workers' hours to part-time. You're fired. According to Gallup, the unemployment rate recently jumped to nearly 9%, and the underemployment rate hit a staggering 17.9%. You're fired. 1 out of 3 young adults and 1 out of 2 recent college graduates are underemployed. Hello, I'm Keith Abel, a pharmacist and a home business entrepreneur. In 2011, I became one of those statistics myself. Instead of looking for another job in corporate America, I joined Dr. Joel Wallet, the Dead Doctors Don't Lie guy. We're creating steady incomes for ourselves and would like to show you how to do the same. If you want to supplement your current income, replace your income, so you don't have to become one of the statistics, then give me a call toll-free at 866-257-3105, 866-257-3105.
You're fired.
Don't wait till you hear those words. Start creating an extra income today. 866-257-3105.
Do you have dry hands or itchy, peeling skin? Are your cracked feet in need of a makeover for sandal season? Hi, my name is Diane Cook, the creator of Bee Spa Hand and Foot Cream. Bee Spa is all natural, 16% beeswax, marigold extract, and other essential oils and nutrients. Bee Spa is great for exceptionally dry hands and feet, but Bee Spa can be used anywhere on the body. I am sure you will see a difference overnight. Bee Spa is the only cream you will ever need. The convenient 2.5 ounce size jar travels nicely and a little goes a long way. Bee Spa Hand and Foot Cream costs $29.99. Use promotion code 101 for free shipping. Order Bee Spa Hand and Foot Cream today at beespa.com. That's BEESPA.com. That's BEESPA.com.
As if chlorine in our water weren't bad enough, now they're adding ammonia?
It's true. Some municipalities are now adding ammonia plus chlorine to your water supply. It's a disinfectant called chloramine. But with a trusted Big Berkey water filter, you can keep chloramine out of your water. New NSF EPA certified lab tests show EPA Berkey water filters remove chloramines, pharmaceuticals, BPA, pesticides, bacteria and viruses, all forms of fluoride, and much more. Big Berkey water filters are the original and most trusted on the market. The gold standard in water purification. And our filters last for years at less than 2 cents per gallon. Big Berkey, the one that's powerful enough to purify stagnant pond water. Get your Big Berkey today. Call 1-877-99-BERKEY or click BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. That's 1-877-99-BERKEY. Big Berkey Water Filters, for the love of clean water.
Mother's Day is this Sunday, and Pro Flowers is offering an amazing special. 100 stunning blooms for mom, plus a free glass vase for $19.99. And today only, get an extra 15% off. Go to proflowers.com, click on the blue microphone in the upper right corner, and enter the secret code 3434. But hurry, this incredible deal expires tonight at midnight. Pro Flowers has everything you need to be a gifting expert on Mother's Day. Order now from Pro Flowers to get huge savings. You pick the delivery date, and it's guaranteed. 100 colorful blooms sent fresh from the fields and guaranteed to stay fresh and beautiful for at least 7 days for $19.99, and will include a free glass vase. Hurry, Mother's Day is this Sunday, and the extra 15% off site-wide deal expires tonight at midnight. The only way to get this amazing deal is to go to proflowers.com, click on the blue microphone in the upper right corner, and enter the secret code 3434. That's proflowers.com, secret code 3434.
Shipping charges not included. Satisfaction guarantee to your money back.
Linda Mace with us. Linda, is the military careful with its use of these chemicals, or are they less than careful?
You have to preface this with the beginning of Agent Orange misuse was done in the 60s, and Monsanto held the patent for that, and they didn't give the information out. And Elmo Zumwalt, who signed off on the use of Agent Orange at all the military bases in Vietnam, had no knowledge originally of the power of what he did. Even though he later talked about it, there's a document called the Zumwalt Report. What's important to know is the original work on Agent Orange. There's a report from Fort Detrick, Maryland, and I can give you links to it later. And the main component of Agent Orange is a substance called trichosine mycotoxin. It's a neurotoxin. It's extremely dangerous. It's used as a biological weapon. But at the time it became used as a pesticide and a herbicide, even by farmers, nobody knew the extent of damage it would do. The work at Fort Detrick at the time was classified, and that is now declassified. But it is the component of trichosine, which is the neurotoxin, which does all the cancers and the damage, and which has goes down through the generations today. So at the time they didn't know it. Nobody told the truth. and they hid it. But then in the 70s, we developed the EPA, and I was involved back when we started writing those regulations. Then we discovered what was going on, and we took regulatory action to control how and where and what you would do to dispose of these chemicals. But up until that time, the military, I think, in its ignorance, did not have a clue to the nature and extent of what they were dealing with and the biological weapons that, because many of the materials and the research was classified. The long answer to a short question.
I posted on usaprepares.com, page 1, an article about babies in Vietnam, and it's dailymail.com. So for 4 decades after Agent Orange, it shows these pictures of babies now being born with very, very serious defects, and these defects can kill them. I'm looking at a picture of a baby with, it looks like somebody took a purple magic marker and put dots and painted this baby's very, very deformed, very, very large, misshapen head with purple and the baby's arms, and it's just horrible. And these babies are in excruciating pain, and the pain is so great that they have to tie some of their hands so that they won't injure themselves. I'm talking about, here's a baby with his head wider than his chest, very, very deformed. And class, if you decide you want to look at this post, the link is on page 1 of USA Prepares. It's about babies born 40 years later after Agent Orange. I had, no longer alive, I had a farmer friend. Mike Parsons and I were in the vehicle with him, and several months ago, riding around this area of the Ozarks, and I asked him about his fence, and his fence line was just magnificent. No weeds were growing under it. And he said, I said, well, how do you do that? And, I was asking a question I knew the answer to. He said, I spray it. So, well, how do you spray it? And he said, I get on the four-wheeler and I have this tank and I just, drive along the fence line and spray below the first wire on the fence. And it kills all the weeds. And I said, does that chemical, that herbicide that you use ever get on you? He goes, oh, yeah, you can't help it. The wind blows. And I said, did you wear a respirator? He said, no, I can't breathe with those. He's got a beautiful fence line. He's now dead. Very, very sad. And I think he didn't realize. He didn't draw the connection between this spray was absolutely deadly to the weeds growing under his fence and the possibility that it could kill him. Now my question is, how is it possible that we can't see that connection? How is it possible?
The thing is, we have seen it because we have many Vietnam veterans who came back and had either stillborn or their children were born with bifida and other things. And the U.S. government, the VA, has granted benefits to those children because of their direct result of being harmed by Agent Orange by their father's exposure. We have seen it in great-grandchildren and great-great-grandchildren. I can tell you, I met with Admiral Zumwalt's family. I know them. And ironically, he and his brothers chose to serve in Vietnam because he was, head of Navy, and they didn't want to, give the impression they were favored. And each of those family members had children who had serious effects from Agent Orange. They were all exposed. Those children will never have children. Admiral Zumwalt paid the ultimate price. His son died from the effects of Agent Orange, who he assigned in Vietnam to a riverboat. And the grandchildren will not have great-grandchildren. He paid the ultimate price. And when he testified to Congress in a special report, he spoke about that and said, had I known, I might have made different choices. but he did pay the ultimate price, and he spoke to Congress about it in a special report called the Zumwalt Report, and I can send you a link to that, and you can post it. So, we have seen it in the U.S., hydrocephalus, spinal bifida. It has slowed down through the various generations of men who served on both in Vietnam and on the ground troops who were sprayed while they were serving there. So it's, and Fort Detrick, Maryland did the research for that, and it's entitled Chapter 34, and I'm going to spell this for your listeners to make it easier, and then you can give them a link. It's TRICHOTHECENE, mycotoxin. And that is the technical name of the neurotoxin that is in Agent Orange, but it is also the technical name for black mold, because black mold is what we use to make Agent Orange. It is a fungus. And that very substance that grows on corn, which is how they developed Agent Orange, and they call it corn mold, and it's a fungus, is literally what Monsanto used, and they developed it at the University of Illinois and University of Chicago to make Agent Orange. And Agent Blue, Agent Pink, and all of those substances. So it came out of the development from the university, and it was funded through part of the Manhattan Project out of World War II and biological and chemical weapons, if that gives you an insight into how far back this goes.
I'm looking at some of the results of Agent Orange and the mutations. I'm looking at a nurse or a caregiver to birth defects. This nurse is caring for this baby. I don't even know whether it would be one baby or two. There's a head at each end. There's a chest connected to the head. It looks like there's a flipper instead of a leg on one side. These are I guess two people joined at the waist.
They're a result of alterations in the DNA from the neurotoxin, and we saw this a lot more so in Vietnam because they're so polluted. But we saw it in Vietnam veterans, and a lot of times the infants didn't live very long. There are numerous defects from it, and it's carried down generations. So it may not show up in the Vietnam vet child, but his grandchild will be born with defects. And the work at Fort Detrick proved this out through this exposure. And that's why GMOs and, are something to be looked at, because you spray this stuff on, you get it in your food, you ingest it, it changes your DNA, and you end up with birth defects.
I'm looking at another baby in a jar. I guess these are pickled for
medical
posterity.
Specimens.
Yeah, medical specimens. And here's a baby with his head larger than his shoulders. Next to that, there's a jar with a baby. It looks like he's almost sitting in the lotus position. He has, it looks like it could be 2 legs, 2 arms, a chest, and then his head has 2 faces. 2 faces, 2 mouths, 2 noses, 4 eyes. So it's like taking 2 heads and putting them together as one. These are absolutely horrific birth defects. Another poor child is, I won't say sitting, but he's placed on a mat, and he has, he's got shoulders, but he doesn't have arms. He's got maybe an arm that's 4 inches long, but no hands. It's almost like it's been amputated. And his feet come out of his hips. So he might have hips and then feet coming out.
There are villages in Vietnam where literally children are placed in these villages that have those defects in it. It's a lot in Vietnam because the water is so polluted because it was dumped so much. So you'll see it quite frequently at compound.
Class, I'll post these images so you get a chance to see what I'm talking about. But be forewarned, it is very, very disturbing. And if this is not a reason to stop this nonsense, I don't know what is. Linda May and I'll be right back. Class, I'm a survivalist, and my plan is to be independent of everything that I can so that supply chain disruptions have a minimum impact on our family. What's the first thing that you do when the power goes out? I've researched the best value solar energy system that I can find, one that's backed by the technical support necessary for the undertaking. The system's installed and is generating electricity right now, with equipment purchased from IronEdison.com. You heard Brandon Williams, CEO of IronEdison.com, right here on USA Prepares. Together, we designed our system. In my opinion, our IronEdison.com system has more features, more value, and more potential than any other system I found. We chose the Snyder Electric system with a hybrid inverter, charge controller, power panel, battery disconnect, and the system control panel. If you want energy independence, as we have, please consider calling the engineering team at IronEdison.com, 720-432-6433, 720-432-6433.
So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today.
Bad news, Americans. You're probably stockpiling for a disaster all wrong. When the big one comes, you'll need more than that poisonous, oversalted survival food you now see everywhere. There are 3 vital things that your survival food is missing, and it's the first thing to disappear from grocery stores. Go to superfoodradio.com now to see my story of how I nearly died when I was forced to live on a popular survival food. That's superfoodradio.com, and I'll show you how everything you've been told about survival food is dead wrong. Go to superfoodradio.com now.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich? Working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare? Having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom106.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom106.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom, the number 106.com. Go to freedom106.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom106.com.
Looking for that edge during those intimate moments? We see many ads for enhancement, but the side effects include death. At GCN Team, we should change the Healthy Body, Brain, and Heart Pack to the Healthy Libido Pack. The brain and heart are not the only organs that require a healthy vascular system. For proper blood flow at the right moment, go to GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203.
This is it. For the first time ever on this station, U.S. government gold offered at cost for only $139 each. With Wall Street suffering its worst start to a trading year in history, now is especially the time to be paying attention to gold. This first time ever, U.S. legal tender government gold offered at cost for only $139 each is from the U.S. Money Reserve. Call them at 1-866-944-GOLD. Gold is on the move, so don't miss out. For the first time ever on this station, U.S. government gold offered at cost for only $139 each. 1-866-944-GOLD or online at usmoneyreserve.com. Ask for a free 55-page Gold Buyer's Book. Plus, get a free Walking Liberty $50 just for reading this must-have book. Get your free gold book, your free $50, but most importantly, get your gold at cost for only $139 per coin. 1-866-944-GOLD.
Bad news, Americans. You're probably stockpiling for a disaster all wrong. When the big one comes, you'll need more than that poisonous, oversalted survival food you now see everywhere. There are 3 vital things that your survival food is missing, and it's the first thing to disappear from grocery stores. Go to superfoodradio.com now to see my story of how I nearly died when I was forced to live on a popular survival food. That's superfoodradio.com, and I'll show you how everything you've been told about survival food is dead wrong. Go to superfoodradio.com now.
Class Linda Mays with us. Linda, as we look at all the damage that the military has done, the governments have done to our children who are students in their training camps, elementary training camps, middle school training camps, high school training camps, and so forth. What is the takeaway? How do we protect ourselves from this?
I think what you have to do is, first and foremost, be concerned about your environment. What are you doing or exposing yourself to? And when you visit a doctor, instead of them saying, well, here's a prescription for an antibiotic or whatever, a doctor should be saying, what environment have you been exposed to? In the case of a school illness or mold, he should be saying, are you in a school where there's been flooding or damage, say in New Jersey where they're having floods, or Texas. Look at your environment around you and look at what you're doing and what you're exposing yourself to. 9 times out of 10, a health issue is related to what you've been exposed to in your environment, or what you've ingested, or where you've worked, or, maybe someone in your family was exposed to. And a good example of that is the young lady I ran into in St. Louis who ironically read the article in DC Bureau about Chanute. And she came walking up to me and she said, I lived on the street. And I went, what do you mean, Chanute Street? I thought she was out of St. Louis. I said, oh, really? She said, no, I lived on Chanute Street in Rantoul. And she said, I have breast cancer. And I went, and she was like 30-something. And I went, really? And she said, my dad was in charge of the fuel dump. We've been looking for this person for 9 months. And she said, my dad can't figure out, because I'm so healthy and GMO conscious, why I've got all these strange illnesses. Turned out she played on the playground where the dandelions were, where they dumped the Agent Orange, from the age of 7 until she was 10. She went back to her doctor, and that knowledge, he was able to do some treatments, and she's still alive today because of knowledge. The father who was in charge of the fuel dump had no idea that the base he had been at and the street his child lived on, the playground, she had an exposure. But it does go through the father to the child, to maybe the playground or the school they went to. They lived on base. So it does spread. The news needs to go far and wide so that people are aware of what they were exposed to and where they were exposed to it at.
Linda, whenever I bought a property, I was a real estate investor for a while, and when I learned that you can tell the age of a house sometimes by lifting up the toilet lid in the toilet tank, because typically most people don't replace their toilets, and the toilet tanks are stamped with the date of manufacture, which is probably within a year or so of the installation of that toilet in the new building. Well, over the years I've seen these toilet tanks that have brown goo in them, black goo in them, and I've seen some that are pristine. And the difference, I believe, is because of the amount of chlorine that is in the water that kills a lot of the biologicals that travel in the water. Is there something that we can learn from that, looking in our own toilet tank, Linda?
Probably is chlorine does not kill fungus. Only vinegar does. So chlorine doesn't kill fungus. Chlorine is another chemical that you have to be aware of. I would say look at the quality of the water. If there's stains on your sinks or in your toilets, think about it. Are you ingesting those same stains? Those stains have...
I'm sorry, I missed what you said last. Are you
indicating that there are chemicals in your water that you won't want to ingest?
Class, we've been talking about mold, black mold, toxins, water pollution, intentional spraying of herbicides on ground where our children play. I guess what we have to do is pay attention to what's happening all around us. Linda May, thank you so much for being with us. Class, above all, honesty and integrity. What happens next is up to you. How many of you want to learn how to dig up bugs, worms, and raise crickets for food? Do you prefer to eat them dried and crunchy or while still alive? Well, you won't have to if you can defend your food supply from predators. You may want to get an AR-15 kit from guns80.com and build your own AR-15 rifle from a kit. If you can legally own a rifle, you can purchase this AR-15 kit. If you're handy, you can complete the rifle in about an hour. The kit comes with all the parts you're going to need to build your rifle, but you'll need a drill press. And survivalists need one anyway. The Guns80.com team purchased the same used floor-standing drill press that I have for $100. You can too. And when you're finished, you'll have a paperwork-free AR-15 rifle, a drill press, drill bits, and the knowledge to maintain your AR-15 rifle, all for less than you expect. So if you want a paperwork-free AR-15 parts kit like mine, visit Guns80.com, Guns80.com, and let the unprepared have our share of the bugs.
Do you or someone you know suffer from chest pain, blood pressure, cholesterol, or irregular heartbeat? Are you looking for a more natural solution to overcome these health challenges? You hear the ads all the time. If this stuff's so good, why doesn't my doctor prescribe it? That's easy. There's more money in treating symptoms. Extendivite Heart Tonic does want you to be as healthy as you can be, and it really works. Take Extendivite for 6 months and your doctor will say, I don't know what you're doing, but don't stop, it's working for you. Get the dependability of Extendivite. Just see how you feel in 6 months. A 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid is only $69.95 plus shipping and handling. Call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with